Hi again, I'm Stephen Wessner, CEO of Predictive ROI, and I want to have a conversation around and maybe provide some insights into how to double down on gaining clarity around your point of view. And what I mean by point of view is your unique view on the world, on your business, on who you serve, why you serve them, who you don't serve. And then that point of view, once you have that clarity, once you have that clarified for both yourself, your team, and so forth, how that drives your content then going forward. So first, let's talk a little bit more about point of view and then what you do with it once you have it. Once you have it clearly defined. Because we all have a point of view. Sometimes it just needs to be uncovered and scratched the surface and dug out, from kind of underneath the sand, but it is there. And so think about it this way, from kind of like what you do, and maybe it's following what I like to call the XYZ exercise. And this is a lesson I learned back when Darren Hardy, former publisher of Success Magazine, was on our board of advisors here at Predictive ROI. And we called it the XYZ exercise, and it answers three questions. And that is, we do X, and X being the product or service that your business delivers. We do X for Y, and Y is the customer profile, the people who you serve, so they can Z, and Z being, the result outcome. And so what is either the financial result, what is the tangible result that they're receiving? So think about that in the context of your own business, right? So like if you were to stitch that together in maybe a sentence or two and answer the XYZ, we do X for Y so they can Z. From that, when you knit that together, that's gonna probably sound unique, or it should sound unique. And that's going to quickly communicate to your customers and prospects who you're there to serve, who you're there not to serve, what it is that you do, who you do it for, and the expected result outcome, right? So our point of view is all around what it is that's distinctive about us. What is it that's distinctive about how we do what it is that we do? Who we do it for, who we don't do it for, kind of essentially, as Simon Sinek says, essentially the why, but it's even a little bit deeper than that because it gets a little bit more tactical than that, right? So once we understand this XYZ, this point of view, then you can take that and you can pound it into the dirt like a flag, right? You can stand by that flag and again say, shouting from the rooftops, this is what we do here, and this is who we do it for, and this is why we do it. And when you're bold enough to claim that piece of dirt, when you're bold enough to pound that flag into the ground, even if it's provocative, and I'll say that sometimes there's huge benefit in it being provocative, because it's startling. It's like, wait a minute, what is it that they said? I don't mean offensive, but I mean provocative enough to cut through the clutter. Then that tells your prospects and your customers that they're in the right spot, that they have found the right person, the right thought leader to pay attention to. When you do that, then you're able to actually build an audience around your point of view. And that's a great thing. That takes you from being like unknown, right? Just an average ordinary business or business owner that is kind of stuck in sort of the sea of sameness. And then you're a step above that, right? Because now you've become distinctive. Now you have a point of view that stands out from the crowd. Now you're not being bogged down by the sameness. Now customers and prospects will look to you and say, oh, that's what she's saying. Okay, I actually want to be a part of that. That could be helpful to me. Not necessarily from a transaction perspective, but just maybe from learning or being helpful, taking lessons, applying that into their business. The next level up from that is actually developing true thought leadership around that flag, right? So that you can really then truly attract an audience around your point of view because you're being helpful, because you're teaching, because you're sharing, not because you're trying to monetize, but because you're trying to be helpful. When that happens, as you develop your thought leadership, you develop a reputation that runs alongside that. And then finally, once you've gained clarity through your point of view, planted the flag boldly saying, this is what we do here, and then you've built your thought leadership around that. Now you're building true reputation, true thought leadership, true distinction, and you become, as Joe Calloway likes to say, you become a category of one. There is no competition anymore, because in the mind of your audience and your prospect, you are the person. You are that thought leader. Your business represents exactly what it is that they want to accomplish in their own business. And so if they have an opportunity to work with your team, you and your team, you can then provide them that pathway to achieve what it is that they want to achieve, to be able to achieve the Z, the result outcome that I mentioned in the XYZ formula or exercise at the beginning of this video. So again, we do X, and X being the product or service, for Y, and Y being the customer profile, who you do it for, so they can Z, and Z being the result outcome. So we do X for Y, so they can Z. And if you work through that process with your team, that's going to help you gain clarity around your point of view. And once you have your point of view, you convert that into a flag by pounding that in the dirt through consistent cornerstone content that helps you build an audience, which then ultimately turns into a nation of true fans, as I like to say. And then that drives your business forward, because you become a category of one, and you become the person, the business that your clients and prospects absolutely want to work with, because you're the thought leader in that space. So I hope that that was helpful and really showed how it really showed how once you gain clarity on your point of view, how that leads to a really wonderful progression in building and scaling your business. So double down on your point of view in 2019, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Oh, before I go, please do leave me comments and questions below in the comments. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you always get our weekly video every Thursday when it comes out. And please know I always want your feedback. That helps us get better each and every week. I look forward to seeing you next week. And until then, onward with gusto.